Now, the latest from ITV News Meridian in the Thames Valley with Luke Castiglione and Stacey Poole.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday's ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines here in the Thames Valley. A year after an Oxford scientist was killed while cycling, is enough being done to improve road safety in the city?
Our test is, would you take an 8-year-old around that roundabout? And no, it's still not safe.
Living life to the full after surviving ovarian cancer. The teacher who says knowing the symptoms is vital for early diagnosis.
Also this Wednesday, the benefits of wild swimming. The Oxford student who's turned one woman's love of the water into a film.
And presenting leeks to the Welsh Guards. The Prince and Princess of Wales in Windsor for the St David's Day Parade. Good evening. It's been a year since the death of an Oxford scientist who was killed when she was hit by a lorry while cycling.
On the anniversary of Dr Phelps's death, campaigners say despite improvements to road safety, more still needs to be done.
Oxfordshire County Council says it's spending more than £5 million on working to eliminate deaths and serious injuries on the road by 2050. Natalie Verney reports.
Ling Phelps's death shook the city. The mother of 2 young children, she was the 3rd female cyclist to die on Oxford's roads in 6 months. Shortly after her death, her husband made an emotional call for change.
I've seen so many deaths and accidents, and some of my friends have been injured as the first person I've known who's been killed. If we can stop more families from getting broken like this, no more children should have to hear that their mother or father was killed pointlessly, really pointlessly, just because we couldn't organise ourselves to do something about this issue, then that would be a positive.
A year on, and Ling's death has been a catalyst for change. At the Plain roundabout where Ling's collision occurred, cycle lanes have been created and the circulation of the traffic has been narrowed. Improvements at other dangerous junctions have also been made. In June, the County Council committed to Vision Zero, an ambition to eliminate deaths entirely from road traffic collisions by 2050. But for many, the changes don't go far or fast enough.
Our test is, would you take an 8-year-old around that roundabout? And no, it's still not safe. It's handling thousands of vehicles a day and lots of buses.
Alison wants a 20-mile-an-hour limit implemented across Oxford and segregated cycleways. She spoke at a memorial for Ling today that was held at her place of work. As a respected scientist who was researching immune responses to COVID-19 in the months before her death, her colleagues launched the Ling Phelps Award to help researchers follow in her footsteps.
It's been a difficult day. It's a hard day, but it's also a nice day to come together to remember Ling. And organising this event has kept me quite busy, which is always nice to have a good distraction for these sorts of things. But it's just important for us as her colleagues and friends to create that legacy and remember her.
A sombre day, one for reflection and to strengthen the commitment to ensure Ling's death hasn't been in vain. Natalie Verney, ITV News.
An RAF veteran from Hampshire who took an overdose while suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder says more must be done to understand the condition.
Liz McConaughey served with the Chinook Force for 17 years, including 10 tours of Afghanistan. But her struggles came a year after she left. Liz has been supported by the charity Combat Stress, who want to challenge public misconceptions about veterans. Rachel Hetworth explains.
Yeah, that was the landing site.
Liz McConaughey has fond and proud memories of her military career, but being part of the medical emergency response team in Afghanistan meant she saw things that left their mark.
10 minutes flying time from Camp Bastion.
She knows now that she bottled up her feelings.
PTSD isn't necessarily flashbacks and loud bangs that make you jump on the floor. My trauma was very much built up slowly. I came out of the Air Force and lost that sense of identity and purpose in lockdown. I was then very, very isolated, and that's when I think some of the trauma from Afghanistan started to re-manifest.
Compounded by a divorce and the loss of a close friend, her anxiety and insomnia built, culminating in a suicide attempt in 2020.
And I was very lucky because I lived near the hospital and managed to survive.
The counselling that followed transformed her life.
Some of the events in Afghanistan, certainly picking up a lot of the guys who had died on the battlefield and some of the injuries that we'd seen, it was traumatic. And it was time now to let myself cry about it. So I had to go through that process.
She was helped by the charity Combat Stress, who received 18,000 calls for help last year. They want to challenge misconceptions about the 1.5 million veterans living in the UK.
Most people's impression of a veteran is a white-haired gentleman that wears a beret and a blazer on Remembrance Sunday. But veterans are also young men and women in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And these are people that really do want to have a second career or a third career. They want to look after their families. They are ambitious. They want to live full and fulfilling lives.
And Liz is a prime example, having reinvented herself as an author and public speaker.
I think it's a really important message to get out there that, yes, you can have PTSD, but it doesn't have to be your new label. It doesn't have to identify you for the rest of your life. Actually, I would say that anyone who's been through a PTSD journey are probably stronger for it. They're more resilient because they've had to learn to look inwards, and that self-awareness. They're extremely strong individuals.
She's now hugely positive about the future and taking part in next month's March for March campaign to raise money and awareness of the charity which helped to save her life. Rachel Hepworth, ITV News in Basingstoke.
More news from around the Thames Valley now, and a new multi-million-pound scanning suite has opened at the Royal Berkshire Hospital in Reading. It will benefit around 100 patients every day. The CT scanners can diagnose cancer, strokes and assess the damage caused following road traffic accidents.
Some residents in Oxfordshire receiving housing benefit can now claim £300 to help with living costs. The County Council has sent letters to more than 4,000 people eligible for this support.
Meanwhile, more than £300,000 has been secured by Reading Council to raise awareness about air quality in schools. Reading is one of 44 authorities across the country to bid for a share of nearly £11 million of government funding.
The family of friends of D-Day veteran have paid tribute to him following his death at the age of 98. Ken Handley from Cropperdy near Banbury received an award from the Netherlands in recognition of his part in liberating the Dutch during the final year of World War II. Members of the Banbury RAF Association say he will be sadly missed.
And you're watching ITV News Meridian here in the Thames Valley. Thanks for your company this Wednesday evening. Still plenty more to come, including, could robots be doing your child's homework for them? Why teachers are being warned to look out for so-called chatbots writing pupils' assignments.
And the Prince and Princess of Wales have been in Windsor for St David's Day parade, presenting leeks to the Welsh Guards.
And for more news from across the Thames Valley, go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
Now, women are putting their lives at risk because they don't know the symptoms of ovarian cancer.
The charity Target Ovarian Cancer says persistent bloating is a key symptom, but women are more likely to change their eating habits than contact their GP.
Well, at the start of Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, Kerry Swain has been to meet a woman from Hampshire who says she owes her life to early diagnosis.
Skydiving from 15,000 feet, a thrilling way to celebrate her own survival from ovarian cancer while raising money for the charity dedicated to saving other women's lives. Still to do on Claire Mackay's bucket list is a ride in a hot air balloon. But she's ticked off featuring in the media and speaking in Parliament because this teacher is using her story to raise awareness.
I'm lucky. I got given a second chance, and I feel like I dodged a bullet, and I feel like actually I need to pay that back.
Claire was only 32 when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She had to have a hysterectomy which caused an early menopause. Persistent bloating, feeling full quickly, pain and needing to go to the toilet more often are the key symptoms.
How easy would it have been to ignore those fairly mild symptoms?
Very easy. I mean, it could have been, I could have put it away as anything. I could have, stop eating too much bread, you're feeling a bit bloated, and probably need a bit of a diet overhaul anyway, as we all do. And it could have been very easy to do that. I think for me, had it not been a combination of the symptoms, if I'd only got one, I probably would have prolonged it.
Claire's cancer was diagnosed early, but 2 out of 3 women are diagnosed late when the cancer is harder to treat. 11 women die of ovarian cancer in the UK every day.
There is no screening tool for ovarian cancer, unfortunately. So that's why it's so important that people do know the symptoms and then are able to act on them quickly.
Only 1 in 5 women surveyed could name bloating as a symptom of ovarian cancer. Just 3% knew feeling full, perhaps with loss of appetite, is a danger sign.
There aren't the big government campaigns that you get for breast cancer and all the rest of it. So I feel like I've got to be the voice for people saying, actually, this is okay. It doesn't have to be a death sentence.
Claire is celebrating 8 years of life since her cancer diagnosis. She says her next adventure may be a charity trek. Kerry Swain, ITV News.
Now, therapists who treat gambling addicts say they've seen a big rise in the number of people who need help following an increase in investing in cryptocurrencies. Now, that's a digital form of money and mostly unregulated at the moment in the UK.
Well, the value of cryptocurrencies can rise and fall very sharply, and the Financial Conduct Authority considers it very high risk, as Kevin Ashford now explains.
Financial markets have been shaken up in recent times with deregulation and a boom in online trading, meaning anyone with an internet connection can buy or sell. Some of the latest products being traded are cryptocurrencies, a digital form of money that's mostly unregulated in the UK. Values can rise or fall sharply, which means big sums of money can be made and lost very quickly. This man, whose identity we're protecting, says crypto trading took over his life.
As it was going on, it was having more of an effect because I was putting a lot more money into it and I was investing before, but then after I was gambling, so I was just watching this coin go up and down with any money I'd got. I was just kind of doing it as a day trade rather than like leaving it for a year or something. So I put money on, take it out, in, out, trying to make quick money, but I was constantly on my phone, constantly looking at it, just detached from everyday life.
He sought treatment and was given it by this clinic which specialises in treating addictions like gambling. The therapist who helped him says he's seen a sharp rise in people for whom crypto trading has become a problem.
Over these 6 years that I've really done a lot of research and spoke to a lot of people that do it, I find that it takes them to exactly the same places where gambling does. The isolation, the fantasies about making money, being able to get the fast cars, the big houses. And then that depression starts to come in. You know, they cross that line into the addiction and they isolate away from everybody. They start telling lies.
Tony says he's seen around 200 people with crypto trading addictions since 2016, most often young men, with a sharp rise in cases in the last couple of years, thought to have been the result of the isolation and increased online activity brought on by the coronavirus pandemic. Staff at a rehab centre in Worthing say it's an issue they're dealing with increasingly.
The difference in crypto is that it's this new form of currency that was invented. And the market is always open 24/7, so which makes it, first of all, very easy access for an addict, and it makes it without any limitations or limits at all for an addict to use.
The industry body Crypto UK said it couldn't comment on this story. Many people do trade in investments like cryptocurrency without experiencing harm. But there is concern that some, especially those who've already had gambling problems, could be at risk. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
More of the day's news now, and parents and their children have been finding out if they've been accepted to the secondary school of their choice today. Oxfordshire County Council says more than 85% of children, that's around 6,000, have been offered their first choice. 96% have been offered one of their first 4 choices that they listed.
The Police and Crime Commissioner for the Thames Valley, Matthew Barber, and Chief Constable John Campbell have been awarded more than £105,000 to voluntary and community organisations. The money comes from the sale of stolen property that can't be returned to its rightful owners.
And the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. With more details, here's Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up, Matt Hancock under fire after it's claimed he rejected advice to test all residents going into English care homes. We'll have the latest on the leak of 100,000 WhatsApp messages from the height of the coronavirus pandemic. The government announces plans to support those affected by major disasters, but are they enough? And fit for a king, the special restoration taking place ahead of the coronation. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, could robots be doing a child's homework for them? It sounds a bit like science fiction, but with recent advances in artificial intelligence, teachers are being warned to be on the lookout for so-called chat bots writing pupils' assignments.
I wish I had robots sometimes, but this kind of software can be accessed from any device with an internet connection and produces answers in a matter of seconds. Nick Smith reports on how AI revolution is now having an impact on the classroom.
A student scored 97% on an essay written by AI. This AI tool can write your homework, so I tested it. Explain combustion engine in a short paragraph.
Popping up on many young people's social media feeds are guides on how to get AI to write their homework assignments. But what are these so-called chatbots and how do they work?
So this chatbot is pretty widely accessible to anyone, and I'm just going to ask it a common GCSE history question. Now, in a matter of seconds, it's come up with a pretty lengthy answer. Now, it might have some language or jargon which may make it easy for a teacher to spot that it's written by AI and not by one of their students, but it can be pretty sophisticated. I can ask it to write the answer in the style of a 15-year-old and even set a word count.
Alan Dare is head of IT at Redbridge Community School in Southampton. He says chatbots are a technology with huge potential and that pupils need to learn how to use them effectively while also being aware of their limitations.
It could have massive implications for their work. There are clearly some negative aspects in terms of copyright and plagiarism, so in that respect it could be quite challenging to figure out whether the students have done their own work or not. But the technology is so powerful, we haven't really fully understood its full capabilities and how it's going to transpire into students' work at school.
Those studying developments in artificial intelligence say chatbots tend to just answer questions in parrot fashion rather than understanding what they're being asked.
It's very sophisticated for what it is. It produces a text that when we actually read it, it makes sense, right? This is not something that is easy to achieve. It's based on very sophisticated understanding of natural language processing. The sense in which it is not sophisticated is it does not have any understanding of the text that it is producing. So it's not like there's a mind behind the machine that understands the output.
Tech experts say this can be problematic, especially for young minds trying to learn by using chatbots, when these systems don't reveal where they're sourcing information or if they're doing so objectively.
So what will happen if we tend to rely on chatbots is that we will be unintentionally excluding really important points of view. One of the challenges with living our lives online is that we can take any piece of information as true or a fact, and what we're lacking is that sense of checking references and sense checking. Imagine being asked to write something about the civil rights movement, something quite important, only to later find that the facts that you're quoting or even the outcome that you're describing isn't accurate.
But this technology is advancing rapidly, and with tech giants like Google and Microsoft developing their own chatbot systems, more will be emerging in years to come. A future where computers can think and interact like a human may be much closer than we think. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Wow, I bet there's so many parents watching this thinking I could do with
I'm one
that.
of them. I was trying to do fractions last night with my 8-year-old. Completely stumped.
I bet you're being modest as well.
Oh, I wish I was.
Let's move on to some football. And Robbie Fowler is among those being linked to the vacant manager's position at Oxford United. The former Liverpool striker helped out with the U's on a casual basis last year. Former boss Michael Appleton has also been linked with a return to the club following the sacking of Carl Robinson at the weekend. Oxford are currently 17th in League One.
Now, a student from Oxfordshire has been shortlisted for a national award thanks to his short film about the health benefits of wild swimming.
Ruben Warledge, who lives in Iffley and attends Oxford Brook, says the film highlights the fact we all need something to help with life's stresses. Andrew Pate has more.
Photography student Ruben decided to make a film about his mum's best friend. Pauline Tatcham is deaf, and she wanted to talk about how she experiences the water differently to those who can hear.
It's just very, very calming. When I'm in the water, I just feel at one with the water. It's just everything else seems to melt away.
Ruben's been shortlisted for the British Mountaineering Council's Women in Adventure film competition. He says we can all learn from Pauline and her love of wild swimming.
For her, it was a way to kind of be free and to feel alive and kind of just let go. For me, it's photography that does that. And I feel like everyone needs that one thing that kind of they're able to just kind of let go of all their kind of stress and anxieties and just kind of relax.
And it's just a really, really peaceful thing to be doing, a beautiful thing. I just love it.
For Pauline's best friend, Ruben's mum, the short film has some important messages.
It resonates on lots of different levels. So it's about health and well-being and mental health, but it's also about connection with each other, connection with ourselves, connection with nature.
The Oxford Brook student says he's happy to have been shortlisted, but is even more delighted that his film has touched people. Andrew Pate, ITV News.
Now, the Prince and Princess of Wales have been celebrating St David's Day in Windsor. In his first appearance since being appointed Colonel of the Welsh Guards, William, accompanied by Kate, attended the parade and spoke to soldiers and their families.
Her Royal Highness handed out leeks during the traditional ceremony at Cwmbemere Barracks, and Sally Simmons was there.
Around 600 attended the St David's Day parade in Windsor, including the Welsh Guards, regimental veterans and soldiers from the 5th Royal Australian Regiment.
While they may not have been my easiest or driest days in the army.
In his address, Prince William said his memories with the Welsh Guards sniper platoon on Salisbury Plain were some of his best. Catherine, Princess of Wales, seemed delighted to receive flowers from a 7-year-old girl as the Guardsmen received the traditional leeks. And a surprise backflip by the 9-year-old son of one soldier, a highlight for Kate and for photographers during the celebrations. Sally Simmons, ITV News.
Lots of smiling faces there. 1st of March then. Surely it's warming up soon. Yeah,
Spring
hopefully.
is here.
But I doubt it. Helen Plint has the forecast.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there, a very good evening to you. And of course today marking the start of a new month and meteorological spring, but only subtle changes really in terms of our weather. That said, over the next 24 hours, plenty more sunshine coming through. It's still feeling a little on the cool side though, and our temperatures really take a dive through the weekend. But generally high pressure really winning out for the time being, and it's this which of course keeps things relatively quiet. Notice that cloud peeling back and wrapping around it, that northerly breeze for the moment. It's off the back edge of this frontal system though, where the temperatures really start to work their way down later in the weekend. For the here and now, there's still plenty of cloud, but notice that peels its way across the region through this evening and overnight. So a couple of showers towards western areas at first, but by and large, by dawn, in countryside spots, our temperatures low enough for some ground frost out there. With clear, starry skies to round off the night, of course, that does mean a beautiful start to Thursday morning. And this time of year, actually, finally some warmth to be had from that spring sunshine as well. So you'll notice the chilly conditions at first, yes, but as the day wears on, by and large feeling much perkier really as we work our way into the afternoon, with those clear spotless skies continuing through the rest of the day, staying dry and fine out there. Still a bit of a breeze, yes, but actually if anything that'll pare back compared to today, and as a result of all of this our temperatures feeling much more generous out there. So by later in the afternoon looking at highs of 19, maybe 20 degrees, and on Friday even getting away with some sunshine at times too. A quick look then at the times of high water, and in Brighton, for example, it'll be high tide at around 7:20 tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Well, that's all from us for tonight. In just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Yeah, Stacey has our late news sometime after the football, so let's hope
Could
it's
be
not
late.
too late tonight. But from all of us here, thanks so much for watching. See you
then.
tomorrow.
Good night.